Well, we will go ahead and get started then. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Phi Alpha Delta's virtual initiation and recommitment ceremony for the spring 2023 semester. My name is Emily Baranowski, and I am Deputy Director at Phi Alpha Delta's International Executive Office. We are very excited to be initiating almost 140 members tonight, with many other members joining us to celebrate their membership and recommit to Phi Alpha Delta. And on behalf of the Executive Office for our new initiates, we want to be the first to welcome our new members to the fraternity. A few quick notes, as I did say at the top of the hour, we are recording this ceremony tonight. If you prefer not to be recorded, you are welcome to stay muted and off video, but if you are comfortable being on the recording, we would love to see your faces, especially for the oath of membership, which is the most critical part of our ritual tonight. Second, we, as part of our ritual tonight, instead of reading all 140 of your names, which would take quite a bit of time, we will be playing a video with everyone's names, and then we will be reading a few last-minute registrants' names aloud at the conclusion of that video. If you don't see your name, if you don't hear your name read, don't worry. If you were a last-minute registrant, if you are here in the Zoom room, we do have you recorded, so do not worry about that at all. But please go ahead, if you have any questions, follow up with our wonderful Director of Membership, P.A.D, Gibbs, who is here with us tonight, along with our officiants. Her information is in the chat, as well as the information about receiving your initiation materials. Tonight's ceremony gives us an opportunity to feature some very important members of Phi Alpha Delta, our faculty members. Phi Alpha Delta relies on the support of professors, teachers, and educators, not only as speakers and presenters at national and local events like this, but also as faculty advisors for our pre-law and law school chapters. In honor of these educators, the ceremony will be officiated by some of P.A.D's leading faculty. I look forward to introducing these officiants in just a moment, but first we'd like to share more about the role of faculty in Phi Alpha Delta. To present that, I will turn it over to our Director of Membership, P.A.D Gibbs.
All right. Hello, everyone. So happy to be with you here tonight. As a Director of Membership, I really love seeing all of our new members, and all of our members are also recommitting. P.A.D has always prioritized a strong relationship with faculty as part of the dedication to service to the school, which is part of P.A.D's mission: service to the student, service to the school, the profession, and the community. To help support our mission, pre-law and law chapters may recruit faculty to join their chapters. Faculty membership in P.A.D lasts a lifetime, and membership fees are always waived for faculty members. If you guys have a favorite professor on campus, get them to join Phi Alpha Delta. We want to have them, and it's free for them to have a lifetime membership. Some of these faculty members choose not to just become members of P.A.D, but also serve as chapter faculty advisors. Faculty advisors can wear a lot of hats, but overall, they work to liaise between the chapter and the school administration. They advise the chapter officers on operations and best practices, in addition to encouraging scholastic achievement among our members. Our faculty members are a key part of a chapter's success and often step outside their standard duties to support their students. To honor this substantial work done by our advisors, Phi Alpha Delta honors our faculty members as part of the Phi Alpha Delta Awards. Individual chapters may nominate their faculty advisors for recognition on a national level through a nomination letter submitted as part of the annual chapter award cycle. Advisors are honored along with other chapter officers and chapter programs during our national events, including the pre-law conference, which is going to be taking place in the fall. In addition, the John J. McCauley Legal Educator Award is awarded at P.A.D's biennial convention. This award was established to honor the legacy of our departed brother, John J. McCauley, who joined P.A.D as a faculty member and dedicated his career to the legal education. The award recognizes a faculty member for their contribution to legal education based upon a lifetime of dedication to the principles and ideals of integrity, compassion, courage, and professional service. Some of our officiants tonight are recent recipients of this award, as you will hear shortly.
Thank you, Katie. Now it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce the officiants for tonight's ceremony. Serving as justice tonight is Dr. Artika Tyner, law professor at University of St. Thomas School of Law in Minnesota. Dr. Tyner is also founder and CEO of Planting People Growing Justice, a nonprofit that seeks to plant seeds of social change through education, training, and community outreach. Dr. Tyner is a member of Phi Alpha Delta's Kellogg chapter. She is also the 2022 recipient of the John J. McCauley Legal Educator Award that you just heard about from Katie. Our Vice Justice tonight is Dean William VanderWyden of Rasco chapter in Miami. Affectionately referred to by students as Dean V, Dean VanderWyden is now retired after serving as Dean at University of Miami School of Law for 33 years. Many of our members from Rasco chapter and all over Florida speak fondly about Dean V's support and work over the years. Dean V was the 2020 recipient of the John J. McCauley Legal Educator Award. Serving as clerk is Joe Regalia, law professor at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, William S. Boyd School of Law, and co-founder of WriteLaw. In addition to these roles, Professor Regalia has served as an advisor to Phi Alpha Delta's Gold program, which stands for Growing Our Leadership Diversity, and as a virtual event speaker for Phi Alpha Delta. Our treasurer this evening is Emma Bennett-Williams. Emma is the Chief Legal Officer for Fort Valley State University, where she is a member of the President's Cabinet and oversees all legal affairs for the university. She's responsible for a wide variety of legal matters and serves on numerous university committees. She also serves as the advisor for the Fort Valley State University Phi Alpha Delta pre-law chapter. Serving as Marshal this evening is Michelle Heck of Henry Chapter and Associate Dean of Admissions at the University of Richmond School of Law. Prior to joining Richmond Law in 2019, she spent 13 years as the Director of Admissions and Financial Aid at the University of Missouri School of Law. Dean Heck has been one of our recurring presenters at the annual pre-law conference, where she presents on law school admissions, most recently along with our next officiant. And last but certainly not least, taking on the role of alumni member in tonight's ritual is Jessica Fonseca Nader. Jessica is the former admissions dean for St. Thomas University School of Law in Florida and now back in private practice with Quintero Broch, P.A. Jessica, let me know if I mangled that pronunciation. She's a graduate of St. Thomas Law, a member of the Menchikoff chapter at St. Thomas, and has served as a chapter faculty advisor. And as I briefly just alluded to, she has presented at our annual pre-law conference on law school admissions alongside Dean Heck. I will now turn things over to our officiating justice, Dr. Tyner, as well as sharing a quick share with you what an initiation table would look like if we were all together in person. Dr. Tyner, take it away.
Thank you all for being here. The purpose of this meeting is the initiation of new members into our fraternity and chapter. This is a proud and happy occasion for the international chapter, as the benefits of membership in Phi Alpha Delta, Law Fraternity, International, and active participation in fraternity activities will now be possible for a group of new members. On behalf of the chapter, I extend a cordial welcome to our prospective members and their guests.
This is Tyner. I am pleased to present the following new members for membership in Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International. As we mentioned earlier, we have a few last-minute names. Judy Dicker, University of Wisconsin-Madison Pre-Law Chapter. Lila Goldberg, Northwestern University Pre-Law Chapter. Frank Granda, University of California Irvine Pre-Law Chapter. Alexandra Haddad, University of Wisconsin-Madison Pre-Law Chapter. Serena Mehta, Northwestern University Pre-Law Chapter. Maya Ramamurthy, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign Pre-Law Chapter. Caitlin Schickman, Menshikoff Chapter. Julie Simmons, National University Pre-Law Chapter. Jamila Smith, Watkins Chapter. Josephine Tamaro, Case Western Reserve University Pre-Law Chapter. I request they be admitted into membership of Phi Alpha Delta so that the bond of fraternalism, which is the essence of Phi Alpha Delta, may be extended to each of them.
You've been invited to join with us in the membership of Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International. Before we proceed, however, there's a duty which the laws of the fraternity lay upon me. I must place before you certain matters of which we request your deepest consideration. Phi Alpha Delta offers you an opportunity to translate an ideal into the practical side of your professional life. As aspiring members of Phi Alpha Delta, you must assume certain obligations and loyally fulfill them. This being so, in fairness to you and to ourselves, some indication of these obligations should necessarily be given to you at this time. The fact that you are here together is symbolic of our fraternity. With a common purpose and united by that bond, which is Phi Alpha Delta, we aid each other in finding the way to honorable professional service within the legal profession. United by that bond, we can achieve much for ourselves, for our profession, and for humanity. The attributes of integrity, compassion, and courage, complemented by professional service, are fundamental principles of Phi Alpha Delta and the indispensable ingredients of the character of a true lawyer. The other officiating officers here with me will now address you concerning these attributes.
Integrity is one of the indispensable attributes of the legal profession. It is that characteristic which makes a lawyer's services acceptable before the tribunals of our land. It is that unchanging spirit of fidelity to principles which makes it impossible for a true lawyer to mislead a court, distort the rule of law announced in a decided case, or deceive a client as to the strength or weakness of their clause. It is undeviating loyalty to truth which makes it impossible for one lawyer to mislead another as to the status of a matter, the availability of witnesses, or the merits of a cause. It is that subordination of one's own personal gain or an advantage for one's client to a higher principle which makes candor a habit and a lawyer's word a universally accepted bond. Integrity makes of each lawyer a custodian of those high principles of the legal profession, which ensure our heritage of human freedoms, individual liberties, and equal justice under the law for all of our citizens. To tolerate the abridgment of these principles is to forfeit the right to declare that one is of the law, a lawyer.
Compassion and courage are two additional principles which every lawyer must possess. Compassion leads a lawyer to accept the cause of the unfortunate, the underprivileged, and those who are the object of scorn and public disfavor. Courage brings the lawyer to press these causes and to defend the rights of these persons with full abilities and a stout heart. Compassion and courage are essential if a lawyer is to be a true servant of the law for all the people. One who would serve the law and attempt less than complete loyalty to these principles is unworthy of the status of a lawyer or of membership in this fraternity.
In conjunction with the principles of integrity, compassion, and courage, and deriving strength from them is another which is required. This principle is professional service. Professional service is of vital importance in our ever-changing world and increasingly complex society. Professional competence is the capstone of a lawyer's essential structure of principles and virtues. Public trust demands the enlightened leadership which lawyers are especially well qualified to provide. If the legal profession is to fulfill its responsibilities to society, we as lawyers must assume the obligations of effective and competent professional service and must discharge these responsibilities with the utmost of our abilities. Only then will our free institutions survive and the principle of equal justice under the law become a reality for all humanity. Competent and effective professional service in every form is a proper complement to a lawyer's indispensable attributes of integrity, compassion, and courage, and is the essence of Phi Alpha Delta.
So that you may better understand your responsibilities as a member of Phi Alpha Delta, the officiating Vice Justice will now explain to you the symbolic meaning of our coats of arms.
This image is the coat of arms of our fraternity. An understanding of the symbols of our coat of arms will give you a better understanding of the principles and ideals of Phi Alpha Delta and of your responsibilities as a member of our fraternity. The Book of Law, located on the right side of the shield, typifies that immortal and undying spirit which is in truth the law, to which all precedents must bow and all rules must conform. May this spirit, which is the law, inspire you with an ever-abiding faith in the rule of law, which is worthy of your loyalty and support. The lamp of learning, located above the shield, signifies only that great industry and application will true learning be acquired. To be worthy of the title a lawyer, you must be diligent in your application to the study of law throughout your legal career. Only then will your accomplishments serve as a true guide to those who follow you. The scales of justice, located on the left side of the shield, represents the impartiality of the rule of law, which gives to every individual true justice without favor or distinction. You are of the law, a lawyer, only if you can judge with impartiality and fairness to all. The scroll, located below the shield, contains the name of our fraternity, Phi Alpha Delta. And this signifies that fraternal bond which unites us into a cohesive force for the advancement of the legal profession and of our fraternity. Our name, Phi Alpha Delta, connotes the Greek phrase Philios Adelphos Dikaios. Translated into our contemporary language, it stands for justice is a dear brother, and in another translation, love of humanity and justice for all. Our name thus signifies two basic precepts upon which our fraternity is founded. Fraternalism, that is the joining together of a common spirit, and justice, that ideal which we who have chosen the legal profession must preserve by exemplifying the principles of integrity, compassion, and courage, and by devoting our time and talent to professional service. The column, which supports and sustains all the other symbols on the coat of arms, represents our membership. Strong, diverse, and innovative, whose duty it is to maintain the principles and ideals of Phi Alpha Delta and to pass them on intact to those who follow us.
So that you may have a better understanding of the principles upon which our fraternity was founded, the chapter clerk will now address you.
Phi Alpha Delta is unique in that it is the only law fraternity which was founded as a result of a legal controversy. It has grown to its size and structure today from a series of events commencing in 1897. On November 4, 1897, the Illinois Supreme Court, without prior notice, adopted a rule retroactively affecting all new candidates for admission to the bar. In response, a group of law students formed the Law Student League with the avowed purpose of obtaining an exemption for those students who had commenced their legal education prior to the adoption of this rule. The League was successful in obtaining passage by the Illinois legislature of an act exempting these students from its provisions. That organization of students was then formally organized in 1897 as Lambda Epsilon Fraternity, Lambda standing for law and Epsilon for equity. It soon became apparent that this type of organization had universal appeal and that its benefits should be made available to all members of the legal profession. Accordingly, Lambda Epsilon Fraternity was dissolved by unanimous action of the Third Biennial Convention, meeting at the Colonial Tavern in South Haven, Michigan. On the next day, July 27th, 1902, the Articles of South Haven, which were to be the foundation of Phi Alpha Delta, were adopted by those in attendance. After a series of meetings were held in Chicago, the Articles, a constitution, ritual, and rules to govern the new organization were formally adopted. The name Phi Alpha Delta was chosen, denoting a continuing bond of friendship among members of the Law Student League and of Lambda Epsilon Fraternity and of the new fraternity. By 1910, the number of chapters had grown to 23. Then next year, our first 4 alumni chapters were chartered, demonstrating a continuity in membership and service to our profession. In 1969, the fraternity chartered its first law school chapters outside the boundaries of the United States, with the establishment of chapters in Canada and Puerto Rico. In 1972, Phi Delta Delta Law Fraternity, the leading law fraternity for women, was by joint resolution merged into Phi Alpha Delta, and 5,000 leading women judges, lawyers, educators, and law students became members of Phi Alpha Delta. Thus, growing from a tiny nucleus originating in a legal controversy at the dawn of the 20th century, Phi Alpha Delta has achieved a position of preeminence among the law fraternities. As you become members of Phi Alpha Delta, we ask your aid and support to ensure that our fraternity and its principles will endure into the future, as it has in the past. With the aid of those who have preceded you as members of Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International.
You have now heard our statement of those principles and ideals which must dominate the professional activities of a member of Phi Alpha Delta, and indeed of every member of the legal profession. To signify your acceptance of these principles and ideas as your own, I will now administer to you the oath of membership in Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International. Please raise your right hand. I will now read the oath of membership in its entirety. I solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will support the laws and legal precepts of my country and its legal entities, that I will respect their courts and obey their legal mandates, that I will be just and honorable in all of my professional activities, and will be faithful to those whom I represent, and that I will support the policies and principles of Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International, insofar as they do not conflict with my religious or civil duties. I will now ask that you all unmute yourselves. I will then ask, do you so promise and swear? And you will answer yes. So with everyone unmuted, do you so promise and swear?
Yes.
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 Thank you.
This is a party. Our hands down.
In this virtual world, there's not an official roll of the chapter for you to sign. Normally, this would signify your formal entry into the membership of this chapter. Instead, your names will be virtually entered into the roll of Phi Alpha Delta and your respective chapters. If we are in person, you would also now receive the fraternal greeting of the fraternity, which consists of a normal handshake with the index finger extended along the wrist of the other member touching the pulse. This greeting is symbolic of the bond of fraternalism, which Phi Alpha Delta exemplifies. As we cannot shake hands with you across the Zoom screen, please instead view this photo showing the fraternal handshake being given by past international justice Stan Cohen. If you're not familiar with Stan Cohen, he was international justice from 1984 to 1985. Unfortunately, he was killed halfway through his term as international justice. At each convention, we hold a reception which is named after Stan. The annual outstanding chapter competition of our law school chapters are also named in his honor. Members of Phi Alpha Delta, I take you all to witness that the new members here present have been duly initiated into our fraternity and chapter, have taken the oath of membership, and will be signed into the official roll of their chapters. Now, by virtue of the authority vested in me, I declare you members of Phi Alpha Delta Fraternity International and of your respective chapters of the fraternity. I hereby invest in you all the rights and privileges obtaining thereto. On behalf of all members of Phi Alpha Delta, I extend to you a cordial welcome into our fraternity. We are happy to have you join us in furthering the principles and ideals of Phi Alpha Delta. These are not mere words. Integrity, compassion, courage, professionalism, service, diversity, and innovation. They are the core values by which we in Phi Alpha Delta are guided in our day-to-day interactions with our colleagues in the legal profession. Remain ever mindful of them as you pursue your career in our noble profession and live your life accordingly. I now recognize Jessica Fanaska Nader, who is present as a representative of the alumni of Phi Alpha Delta.
As a member of the alumni of Phi Alpha Delta and representing all of its alumni members, I extend to each of our new members a fraternal welcome into our fraternity. To you, our new members, we offer the assistance of the alumni in the achievement of your goals. I urge each of you to seek the aid and guidance of the alumni of Phi Alpha Delta whenever we can be of service. You will find us ever ready to be of help to you. To the older members present, I commend these new members and urge you to make them welcome in your midst so that they may soon realize the true and full significance of membership in our fraternity.
The development and maintenance of a special relationship between the student and alumni members of Phi Alpha Delta is of vital importance and is a unique characteristic of our fraternity. I commend you to the greetings of our alumnus member. Sister Fonseca Nader, on behalf of all of our officiants and Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity, Please accept our sincere appreciation of your presence and participation, which will serve as a reminder to each of us of the bond of fraternalism, which exists between all members of Phi Alpha Delta. Your initiation into Phi Alpha Delta is now completed, and you are now full members with us in Phi Alpha Delta. I charge each of you to hold foremost in mind the principles and ideals which you have subscribed today. With your help, Phi Alpha Delta can remain a real, living force for the advancement of our profession and so of humanity. We have gathered here today in advance of this meeting, the principles and ideals of Phi Alpha Delta by the initiation of new members present here with us. The admission of our new members will ensure the future of Phi Alpha Delta and our chapter, and we are indeed proud to have them join us in Phi Alpha Delta. In adjourning this meeting, let us do so with the firm resolve that our new members will be made welcome into our midst as full members of this fraternity and their chapters. I now declare this meeting of Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International adjourned. Thank you. Now, before we end, some words from the executive office.
Thank you, Dr. Tyner. We will be closing the Zoom in just a moment, but before we do, on behalf of the executive office, I would like to extend a fraternal welcome to Phi Alpha Delta Law Fraternity International. You have now been initiated into the largest and most preeminent legal fraternity in the world. I'd like to very much thank our officiants for their time tonight and their incredibly moving delivery of our initiation script. If any of you need the copy of the script for your own chapters, please do get in touch with me and Katie or check out our website. The initiation ritual is available online. As we mentioned previously, please refer to the email you received when you registered with the meeting link information and for information on how to request your membership materials. Please also contact our Director of Membership, Katie Gibbs, who has just put her information in the chat again with any questions about your membership. Congratulations to you all again. We hope to see you all at another Phi Alpha Delta event very soon. Good night, everyone.